Let's talk about studying a bit. This is something that I always seek to help my students with because learning how to study is one of the most important things you can do. Learning how to study will help you not only in math, but it'll help you in life because you'll learn how to go deeper in different subject matters, get more understanding of stuff. So in other words, the skill of study is transferable, but the skill of study is actually a learned skill. It's not just something that just happens, if that makes sense. Now, I even thought this, and I realized once I got to college that studying was a thing, a skill to be developed. Because this is what happened to me. When I went through grade school, I did fine, I did good. And once I got into high school, it got a little bit more difficult, but I still was doing very well. 11th grade was challenging in particular. But one thing I knew how to do pretty well was take notes. However, I realized when I got to college that my studying methods were still to some degree deficient. I guess what I mean is to enable me to perform at a very high level in college. I did fine, but I still could have done a whole lot better if I had really, really revamped my studying habits. Now, this is what I want to talk about very specifically: paper and pencil. I also have a calculator here, a TI-83, not connected to the internet, no apps or anything like that. But the main thing I want to talk about today is good old fashioned paper and pencil. It's 2026. You probably didn't need me to tell you that. But we have no shortage in this day and age of tools created by technology to enable us to help us to learn things. A lot of this stuff is great. A lot of it is really great. With math, even in general, in particular, you have a lot of apps. You have Khan Academy, you have IXL, you have Delta Math, you have Desmos, you have all this stuff that really helps to improve learning. And that's probably not even the half of the tools. You also have artificial intelligence, which is able to, you can take a picture of a math problem and it can literally, give you the answer step by step, can also give you problems like it. Pretty useful stuff. But the thing I want to encourage is good old fashioned writing a problem down, working through it, struggling through it. Really for a few reasons. First of all, one problem that I see with a lot of my students is the practice of doing the math in your head. Now, you of course you're going to be doing it to some degree in your head anyway, but what I mean is doing it in your head without writing down the steps. A lot of my students do that. Now, listen, I don't care how good you are in math. What you have to learn as a student is to be able to systematically do math. And it's hard to, at least it makes it more challenging to try to hold all of this information in your head while you're doing the math. Now, to some degree, I think it can help you, but you really need to write it out as you do it because a lot of students are doing this math in your heads and you're making simple mistakes. It's not that you don't know how to do the math. It's just that you're holding all the information in your head and you forget small details here and there, here and there. And remember, missing a detail here and there, even if it's something like a negative sign or you forgot to square something or something like that, that can make or break a math problem. Because that could be one of many steps required to solve a math problem. And you missed the negative sign because you were doing it in your head and you didn't keep track of that negative sign in your head. you need to practice writing out every step. Now, for one thing, is just you want to make sure you get the problem right. The second thing is when you get into college, it matters a lot. Teachers, professors want to see the process that you use to solve a math problem so that you can demonstrate that you really know how to do it. It's not just to see if you're cheating or not. It is to, even to give you credit if you get the problem wrong because they can at least see well they were on the right track. They can A professor can get a better idea of what you actually know when you solve a problem systematically. But a third reason you want to write your work down is for the purpose of study. Writing reinforces learning. So, say you're in physics and you're learning about something about, like um, friction or something like the force or force equals mass times acceleration. You're learning about forces on an object or something like that. And uh, your teacher lectures you. They give you a lecture. You hear that lecture, okay? You pay attention to it in class. You don't write anything down. And then you come back a couple of classes later and you have a pop quiz. Now, what you have to do is you have to rely on whatever it is that you heard from your teacher. Now, unless you read the book or something like that, you have to rely on whatever you remember from what your professor said. But the thing is, and it's even proven scientifically, when you actually hear, then you write as you're hearing, what happens is it gives the information, it allows you to receive the information in a different way, so it kind of reinforces whatever it is that you learned. And I found this to be true with my own self as well. When you write things down that you're hearing or that you're taking in, it's like taking in through multiple ways really strengthens the knowledge. But a lot of people are just skipping steps. They're not writing things down and whatnot, and so your knowledge, in particular of math, is more tenuous because you're not writing things down. Now, a lot of people may not do it because they don't feel like it, or they say, "Well, I can remember this stuff." Sometimes it's not just a matter of like what you've been able to do in the past. Sometimes it's a matter of what can I do to go to the next level in math. If you want to go to the next level, you need to take notes. If you want to go to the next level, you need to write out the math problem and all the steps on your paper. Okay? And a lot of you are in the process of getting ready to take the SAT, go into some other high school math course, whether it be algebra, geometry, algebra 2, pre-cal, calculus, trig, whatever, statistics. You're getting ready to go into these, and perhaps it's going to be another level of challenge for you. But if you're not writing anything down, then you're missing out a very, very key opportunity to help you to really, really succeed in that class. Okay. So it's not just a matter of what you're able to do sometimes. Sometimes it's a matter of you going to the next level. And if you really want to be successful in math, writing stuff with good old fashioned pencil and paper, not just looking at a screen, is really going to be important. So let's see, what else did I want to say here? So like I said, when you do math in your head, and everybody does to a degree, but what I'm saying is whenever you're writing it, not writing it out as well, then the risk of small mistakes increases drastically. Again, I have students very intelligent, like, and I mean that they're very smart. I can tell based on watching them and hearing them that they know how to do the math, but then they'll make a quick mistake here, there, and it's like, wait, go back, go back. You missed that. It's like, oh, okay, that's right. I knew that. It's like, well, you knew it, but because you didn't write it out, then you missed it. And that matters when you're taking a test, when you're getting a grade. The other thing I want to say, y'all, is this. In this highly technological age, we have a lot of encouragement of students to use technology, um, not just not just for math, but even in general, just in the midst of learning in general. And let me tell you, I am, 40 years old. I'm a grown man, and I remember how it was before we had all the different kind of devices and fast internet and all this kind of stuff, or internet at all. These things are very distracting. And when we are, when our kids are learning in the midst of technology, I believe that we're putting them at a strong disadvantage. Because who knows? I mean, again, you can have all of the educational tools in the world on your phone. But remember, you have all the other tools and all the other distractions on the phone as well. And so, literally, students are having to make the decision to not check Snapchat, not check TikTok, and the notifications are on and this and that. If you turn the device off for a bit, get some good old fashioned paper and pencil, then you are able to focus in on the math. And that's one of the things I'm really concerned about, that a lot of our students are not getting. They're not getting that time to focus only on the math. Now, that's coming from me, a math tutor who my organization does virtual tutoring services and whatnot through Zoom, kind of almost similar to how this live is. But the point that I'm making is I try to encourage students, even as we're doing stuff online. Hey, give me your focus. We're doing the math now. This is what we're doing here. And again, it's not a matter of whether or not you can juggle checking messages and doing math and maybe do kind of well. It's like, do you want to really be successful? Do you want to go to the next level? Especially those of you, those of my students who are wanting to go into college, go into math based majors and whatnot. You're really serious about the things that you want to do. To get to the next level probably doesn't always require having a device on or a device around. I remember when I was studying for the SAT, and I remember my parents had got me a book kind of like this one. This is one of the books I use to whenever I'm helping students with SAT math and whatnot. And it would just be me, my SAT book, some pencil and paper, in our dining room. I'm just in there cranking out problems, studying. That's it. I was doing that stuff and just really diligent, really focused because I really needed to raise my score. But my concern is that there are a lot of students who even want to raise their score, but they're so distracted because they're doing everything with phones and whatnot. They're even being encouraged. A lot of us adults are encouraging our students, our kids or whatever, to learn with devices, either with devices directly or with devices around. And I think we're putting them at a disadvantage, y'all. I really do think that. I really believe that. Um, but yeah, oh, one more thing before I go. Even when it comes to calculators, now I use a calculator, some, especially if you're dealing with big numbers. But here's the deal: like, you have to learn how to practice math without a calculator as much as possible. When you take the SAT, you're going to have a calculator available. But the truth is that most of the math problems on the SAT still do not require a calculator. So if you have somebody who has learned to depend on a calculator for math, they may even try to use the calculator for problems that they entirely don't need them whenever they look at something and don't know how to do it immediately. So then what happens is you're set up to fail because you're so dependent on the calculator. You can't your ability to solve things independently is diminished. So while I'm while I am for using calculators and whatnot, I always encourage students, as much as you can, try not to use a calculator until you absolutely need it. Because there's different kind of math. You can do it, and you can learn to do it quickly in your head. And a calculator, if you learn to depend on it, you're gonna look for a calculator to give you an answer when you don't even really know anything about the math. If that makes sense, avoid using a calculator until you absolutely need it. That's what I want to say there. Okay. All right. So anyhow, this summer, MathSwap Tutoring is hosting a couple of summer math intensives, or a few. It depends on demand, but we're doing something for example, Algebra 1. The students who are about to go into Algebra 1, we give you a first look at it. We go deep into it for about a month, an hour, 3 times a week. And, we're going to give you, kind of the rundown of a lot of what you're going to cover. So when you get into algebra in the school year, you're able to hit the ground running and really, really do well. So that's that. And then we also are going to have in the Middle Georgia area, I'm going to do a SAT math in-person camp, and it's going to be a couple of hours a day for almost a week, 4 days. And we're going to do a deep dive into SAT strategies, specific topics, and all that kind of good stuff to really help students get prepared for the SAT, in particular the one that's coming up here soon in August. But anyhow, this is what we're doing to help students succeed by starting now. Math success in the next school year starts now, even as we're preparing to end this current school year. It starts now. You don't want to wait. Like I said in the last video, a lot of people wait until midterm, or you wait until end of the year, and then it's like it's like, okay, what can I do? What can I do to help my child succeed? Sometimes it's too late. I'll say oftentimes, just to be honest, it's too late. You might be able to limp ahead, but you want to get ahead of the game. You want to get ahead of it. Okay, so that's what I'm encouraging now. We have a couple of things that we can do to help you. So make sure that if you're interested in any of our summer programs, we'd love to have your child. Okay. I thank you guys for watching. I do hope that you have a great day.